Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. I have been doing a little pickling this week. That right there is a jar of red onions. It's about 7 or so red onions that we got some free food from a food donation place. And and I knew it was going to be a goodly amount. So this right in here is just mostly a little bit of vinegar, just a pinch of cinnamon bark, and just a fingerful of cloves. Just a very light, semi-sterile preserved, so I can mix them in with other ingredients, such as some of the cucumbers that we've been gathering off of our vines. Hopefully we'll get more over the remainder of the year, since we're already in summer. But hopefully we've got several long months of growth in front of us. Right, now the other thing is we got was a whole bunch of cabbage, which I've already got packed in bottles. So let's go into the basement here and show you where I've got it in the cool and the dark doing its fermentation for 2 weeks. So in here, sorry, a little dark without the lights. There we go. Yeah, I know this place is a labyrinth full of garbage. In here, it's very dark, so it's kind of hard to see them. But boy, it is really hard to see them. Put them in an angle. I've got 9 quarts of plain white cabbage. I don't know if it'd help bring this light in very much, but I'll skip that because it's hard to move that light and hold the camera. But anyhow, so I got 9 quarts of cabbage down here, and they have basically a brine and slightly sugared fermentation broth on them, and they are packed very tightly, so there's almost no airspace in them at all. So, did I turn that light off? Yeah, I did. Okay. I sometimes forget and leave that on. So, anyhow, so that's pretty much my current state of adventures in pickling. Now let's go out here and see what changes we have in the greenhouse. That one piece of geranium is still alive. It hasn't rooted yet, but it hasn't died. And then I've got a couple pieces of oh, look at that, I got it upside down. Well, it fits upside down and it's staying hydrated, so maybe I'll end up trying to root that as 2 pieces. I'm going to try to root these pieces of Boston ivy downstairs on the cliff face so that they can climb up and hopefully root into the hillside, cover the cliff face in ivy. We shall see. Mom's been gradually fiddling around with aloe vera and some of the wandering Jew, trying to separate it and pot it. Some of it's been kind of not getting anywhere for a while, but that's for her to decide. Hope she doesn't end up killing it. Other than that, though, she's bought some new cactus, and we have a few new cactus in a couple places other than the. And then I repotted one. She had a potted avocado in there. It's over here now. It's hard to tell, but both of the cantaloupe, pineapple have put some growth on. So in general, some things are making it, some things are not. It's hard to tell. Again, not a whole lot of progress to be instantaneously seen here in this part, because and then even then sometimes it's hard to tell how much of what's progressed is kind of, you shuffle it around and it's like shuffling what they call it, a shell game. Shuffling an object around in the shell. It's hard to tell quickly what it is that's happened. Since the goats got out the other day, one of the babies, the door's blocked open because one of the babies, I put her food and stuff in here since she's not been doing well. she's got bottle jaw and she's got potentially digestive problems. So poor little Gretel over here, the only part of her that looks flush and round is her poor face, because she's got a swollen face. Potentially she's anemic. She's over here at the moment, away from the others, so she doesn't get beat up and she doesn't get hoarded. Doofus Rototiller got back over here last night or yesterday, so I'm leaving him in there for the moment, but I'll get him back out. I gotta put a roof over that other piece so he quits getting through there. Yes, Mercury me. Mercury me. Everybody else is, so far that I know of, reasonable health, but I can't be for sure. Poor little babies. Yes. There's the babies. Good morning. There's a snowflake. He got an injury on his ear and it rot and wrinkled up his ear. I was worried that happened to another goat, and it didn't, but it did happen to him, sadly. So that'll unfortunately affect his market value. Other than that, they say that when they got out, they went and ate the top off Mom's elephant ear. They ate on the petunia here, but it seems to have survived without any adverse effect. They ate on the spider plants, but not bad enough to really do them any serious harm. Somehow or another, to our shock and awe, a lot of our out here crops have not been deemed terribly edible yet by the billy oats. Mr. Malley and Mr. Snookums haven't decided that they're good for food. And usually goats will eat anything humans will eat before they'll eat anything they would otherwise eat. So the cucumbers, the two of them, plants, are making pretty good progress as far as size goes. How many fruit they're making seems to, I don't know if they drop fingerlings after a certain period of time, because I thought the other day I had a lot of fingerlings out here, and then all of a sudden I don't. Now see, there's one right there, and it's like one moment I count 10 or 15 fingerlings, the next day I go in there and I can't count any of them. It's like, where did they all go? Did they fall off? I don't see them laying down on the ground. Here's some more ripening cherry tomatoes. Apparently these are yellow cherry tomatoes, and they're pretty nice. We had a couple of them. It's producing just tomatoes like crazy. That cherry tomato is. The rest of them aren't doing so hot as far as production. For the most part, though, there's one fingerling right there. Actually looks a little more shrunken than it did the other day. Of course, also I don't have the water on here today. Cotton plant has flowered a little bit, but hasn't really done. I mean, now there's a nice big old bumblebee. That's cool. Big old, yeah. We try to get more bees over here, but there's not really anything we have control over. I say trying to get more bees. We were hoping more bees would come. Let's put it that way, since we have no power whatsoever to attract bees. And there it is again. It went right over my head. And I hope I don't get stung by it. Yeah, so unfortunately I don't know what else to say. This one finally put on a tomato there. Now apparently what it is one of these two bigger tomatoes. One's called Big Boy and one called Better Boy. Well, something got in there and about devoured that marigold. So much for residues. I don't remember what the marigold's there for, but something's been eating them and killing them. The two over here died. They got devoured down to the stump and died. So that's not happy. I guess marigolds aren't as effective at repelling anything. These three tomatoes here are looking really good. And then there's a fourth one over here somewhere. I can't remember. There it is. Right here that just came up. Starting to take on some shape. Oh, here's another one down here I missed completely. Alright, so there's 5 tomatoes on here. They're kind of hard to see. They get covered up by their own leaves. That's fine. I had these on water last night just to make certain that they're getting their water. The Roma is, I have no idea if it's gotten more or if it's the same 8 that it had before. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so it's got 4 more than it had before. It's got a dozen. It had 8 last time I counted. It's got 12 now. Now we're supposed to have a couple nights of cooler weather, so hopefully that's going to lead to more tomato setting. These things have been forever. It finally put on hopefully one fruit, and it's finally taken off and putting some growth on these 2 bell peppers. So Yahweh willing, I'll have to water them here pretty soon. They're getting, well, they're a little moist. Besides, we're at night, theoretically, while we're in the 60-degree temperatures, we should be getting some dew fall. These things have struggled a lot. Almost looks like something trampled them. I dusted them because there was something eating them. I say it looks like something trampled them. They're still growing. They're putting on new growth here and there. It's just they do look a little trampled. They may be a little wilted. Maybe they need more water. They are putting on runners finally. I was wondering if they were going to do that or not. They are putting on more runners. If they do that, they'll swarm this thing so much there won't be room to breathe in there, and they'll just have to be repotted, which is kind of a good thing because you want as many strawberry plants as you can get if you have room for them. We'll just have to put another armored protection around them to keep the critters off of them. And unfortunately right now, we really can't keep the ones off that I know will get on them, which is the squirrels. Squirrels eat them, and the birds will fly in there and eat them. So we have to make some kind of tougher, more resilient, booger-proof fencing. This thornless blackberry, which I haven't even bothered really picking them. I picked a couple because it didn't even look like it had any for a while. They taste so much better this year than they did last year. That must not be ready to come off. I say it tastes better. I mean, it could be my taste buds too. Because of this COVID thing monkeying up my taste buds so bad, it's potentially either one, and I wouldn't know the difference. Man, no, they don't taste natural, but man, they taste better. When I say they don't taste natural, I know that sounds like a weird thing to say. Oh, that one was tart. Thankfully, I like tart. But I have weird aftertastes to my taster. Really, not much is going on around here. Nothing in the shop to report about. I think I mentioned this last week. The wild petunias are up. I think I mentioned this last week. To my shock and awe, we got a little bit of a hot weather verbena going on. It's busy growing while all the other verbenas are laying low for the hot weather. Over here, wild petunias have just a little colony going on here. And boy, look at, for me, that's the most wild petunias I've seen out here in one place at one time. And they're just getting along really good, despite the hot, dry weather. And it's after 11:30 right now, and they're still out having a good time. I don't know if it's because the weather is unseasonably cool. But trust me, I'm happy with it. I don't know that I want to walk up there to those. I mean, it makes a large, nice, picturesque picture, but oh boy, had to climb up that hill. Again, really nothing's happened in the shop, so there's nothing to say there. I mean, I haven't done anything downstairs. It's just growing over with weeds and some wildflowers, a whole lot of pearl mint that I have to go down there and fight. I have to get the bush hog out and bush hog the downstairs and probably half the upstairs here after a while. If I can heal up from this stinking surgery. It's been still, like right now, I'm all up on pain meds or I wouldn't be able to walk at all. Because that's where it affects me, is right where I walk. And where I stand, where I sit, where I walk. So every bit of movement or lack of movement all hurts. So it's pretty rough no matter how it happens. Anyhow, so last thing I wanted to bring up was just the changes since I had built my micro armor for my grape. I mean, not grape. Why did I say grape? Because I'm looking at a grapevine. Micro armor put for my little blackberry down here. Since I don't know if that other one's coming back, and I do need to propagate this thing, I went ahead and got it all set up. See, it's got new growth here and new growth coming on here. After I planted it, it tried twice to put new growth on and it got devoured. But now that's the third new growth it's tried to put on. Hopefully it will survive. There's a hummingbird moth. You don't see them very often. Oh, I must have spooked it. Anyhow, so hopefully eventually this whole area will be filled. Of course, in that process I plan on leveling this technically, because it'll hold water. It'll still be drained, but it'll hold water better when I level it. I'll level it out and make certain the soil is good condition and has the right amount of retention, the right amount of drainage, so that the blackberries can go in there. And these mounds have a lot of iron in them from this iron vein, so I'll probably end up having a lot of issues with the iron content distribution that I'll resolve by just taking and mining the iron, not as a metal for building machinery with, but as a mineral for the nutrient content of all these plants. Since they're here, hang on a second here. Let me see if I can't zoom in on some of those. I'm on the wrong tree. Hard to tell. I can't tell if my camera's pointed at the right tree or not, or right parts. Trying to zoom in there and show you some of the, there they are. Yeah. There are some little wild cherry plums up there in the tree. And they're shedding. They have all been bug bitten, so I can't do anything with them. And that's sad. But they are still bearing fruit. One tree here that had been bearing fruit lost the fruit-bearing branch and didn't bear more fruit on the other branch. It got run into by me or other people. And so the part up above didn't make any fruit. But the other plants, to some extent through there, have made a few fruit. And the problem you run into is if you don't spray them, they become worthless. Well, it looks like that one got eaten by a critter. They're not worthless necessarily to the squirrels or the birds. But some things go in there and they bite chunks out of them. So, and the thing is that if you don't have a whole lot of them, you really can't do much with them. But when you got a lot of them and they come out right, they come out just unbelievably great. I mean, they get sour, or they start off, of course, like many green fruits. They're extremely sour, bitter, and not very palatable. But if you get them just ripe, like many good fruits, they'll get really sweet. Unfortunately, the gladiolas have not decided to flower this year. Not the new ones, not the old ones. So no reason to walk over there. Since I came around this way, may as well do a little bit of a shot of the, get a little better angle on these flowers. They're about the only flowers in mass right now that are open. These will open up here pretty soon, but up here, let me make sure I'm angled properly. Yeah, a little batch of those flowers. They pretty prolific along that hill. So, yeah, it's too bad about these cherry plums. I don't know what to do because I'm not in a position to spray them right now. If I were trying to raise them for a crop, I would definitely be, I'd have to start off. If I were trying to raise them as a crop, I'd have to set them out and prune them and do all that. I don't know what to do with these. I almost wish I could lay out a bunch. I'd like to make that little area where they're growing into an orchard, but can't really because the problem I run into is that I need it for other things. And since they are such a hit and miss product right now, I really need to save that area for, well, other products that are more viable. Once I've got it invested in them, I have to rip them out and put something else in. That just seems like a real crime against God and creation. And there was another bachelor button over here that started up second chicory on my property that I'm aware of, but it's already folded for the morning, so can't really show it to you. That's basically everything. There's the Rose of Sharon still blooming, and Yowie will, and it'll bloom for many more weeks. I believe, yeah, that mimosa is still blooming. Yeah, it's pretty well covered. It's doing pretty good. This one over here, even if it is blooming, you can't really see it. And it's got a couple flowers on it. It's almost dying. It probably needs to be cleared out of there, at least for nothing else. It needs to be pruned back a lot. Apparently they do better if you prune them aggressively. It keeps them from having so much rot. So maybe it'll get cut back down a lot so that it puts in new growth. We shall see. Other than that, Dusty Miller's doing what Dusty Miller does, and the various wild mints are doing what the wild mints do. And the boys come through here and clear out some of the underbrush. Makes it easier for me, but they don't really pay much attention to those saplings of the, well, it looks like they knocked a couple cherry trees over there, or something. I have to go over there and clean up after them. Looks like they tore down some plants plowing through there. I don't see them out here often anymore. They were like out here all the time, but lately they haven't been, so I'm gonna have to probably get in here and clean up after them. And then I've still got some bush hogging down here to do, but I gotta get that big tree trunk out of there first. And there's some cement blocks and things. I don't want to break the cement blocks, and I don't want to break the bush hog on cement blocks, so I gotta get them out. That log right there is probably rotted beyond use, but if so, it's kind of my own fault for not getting it out of there when I have in the past. Again, here's some of those Rose of Sharons. I'm not going to do a close-up today, but they've been leaving these little, I got to cut all this out and feed it to the babies. All the persimmon growth. I should do that occasionally. And then the wild black raspberries have come and gone. They've done their thing. They did a decent job, I suppose, under the circumstances. This thing here, pruned it up good. It's got a lot of dead branches. I don't know how evident that is from where it's at right now, but it's got a lot of dead growth on it. Get that off of there and get that out of the way. Save it back for other purposes, such as the inevitable demise of animals, which I really hate that, but sometimes it happens. Of course, that means I gotta get my chainsaws working. Somebody had on there, oh, well, you can fix your chainsaw if it's been scored, you know, and I'm like, no, I can't. It went through the, you know, the hard coating. And like, when that happens, you're pretty much out of luck, you know, unless you can bore a whole new, which I'd like to do that. I'd love to be able to just go in there and bore a whole new sleeve for it, because that's all it needs, in theory, to be a fully operational chainsaw. Let's just have the cylinder. I've covered it briefly before, but not recently. When I saw that video, I was a little irked, because it's like, just sand it out. It's like, you can't just sand this out. Oh well, it is what it is. I figure I'll either fix it or I'll turn it into aluminum scrap. On the other hand, there's always a possibility I'll just copy it, make duplicates of it with a steel cylinder sleeve, and then sell it. Who knows? No telling. No changes over here, unfortunately, at the well pump area, or the welder that I need to get running to finish welding up the rebar. But I need to get that done, get the well back online. We had the water go out on us one time here recently, which is slightly my own fault for oversetting the water settings a bit. You notice the jack is under the truck. I got in there to get some stuff, and I'm gonna have to get in there and lift the, I gotta drop that bed in there and put this thing here up in there to or some other device like that, floor jack, to lift up the ceiling and anchor it in place, because the bottom's all rotted out. And we've come to the conclusion this is not going to stay on the road. We're going to go ahead and strip this cabin off, probably brick it in, put it over here where this area of the field's going to be moved over about 12 feet at a diagonal like that, and it'll be put in here, stood up on blocks and underpinned, and put some kind of wall like cement blocks or stacked rocks or something around the outside to make it pretty, and it'll be pretty much an apartment for people. And it'll have a full roof with just enough ventilation for the air conditioning, because we'll just leave the air conditioning in it, and we'll wire it in and plumb it into the septic and everything where it'll be. And then I'll just use that big chassis there, which is a little bigger actually than the chassis on either of my other trucks, and use it as a truck chassis at that point. Well, that's pretty much all the news I've got for now, and it's not really much. A lot of yakking and rambling. So, well, till next week, shalom, and hopefully you all have a wonderful Sabbath, rest of the Sabbath, and week coming up.